At 70, Kevin Costner has reached a point in life where reflection feels more natural than reinvention. Decades of fame, risk-taking, and personal growth have given him perspective, and with it, a willingness to speak honestly about the people who shaped him. Among those figures, one name stands above the rest: Robert Redford. For years, fans sensed a quiet connection between the two men, but Costner rarely spoke directly about it. Now, with the weight of experience behind him, he has begun to articulate what Redford truly meant to his life and career. This was never about gossip or rivalry, but about influence and gratitude. Costner's story at 70 is less about looking backward with nostalgia and more about acknowledging the mentors who helped him understand what storytelling, integrity, and courage really look like in an unforgiving industry. A grounded beginning. Far from Hollywood. Kevin Michael Costner was born on January 18, 1955 in Linwood, California, into a working-class family that valued effort over attention. His father worked as an electrician and later a utility executive, while his mother dedicated herself to social work, instilling compassion and humility in her children. As the youngest of three boys, Kevin grew up moving frequently due to his father's job, an experience that quietly taught him resilience and adaptability. These early disruptions forced him to observe people closely, a skill that later became central to his acting. Costner did not grow up dreaming of stardom. Instead, he was drawn to stories, history, and character. While studying marketing and finance at California State University, Fullerton, he discovered acting almost by accident, realizing it offered a deeper way to explore human truth. Choosing the hard road into acting, Costner's decision to pursue acting was not impulsive, but deeply considered. After graduating college, he took acting classes, performed in small theater productions, and worked odd jobs to survive. Progress came slowly, testing his patience and confidence. One of his earliest professional breaks came when director Lawrence Kasdan cast him in The Big Chill, though his scenes were ultimately cut. Rather than discouraging him, that setback became a turning point. Kasdan remembered Costner's presence and later cast him in Silverado, a role that finally brought recognition. This slow rise shaped Costner's approach to fame. He learned early that success could vanish as quickly as it arrived, and that preparation mattered more than luck. Those lessons would stay with him long after Hollywood began calling his name more frequently. Becoming the face of the American hero. The late 1980s and early 1990s transformed Costner into one of Hollywood's most reliable leading men. Films like The Untouchables, Bull Durham, and Field of Dreams resonated with audiences because they reflected themes Costner genuinely believed in: integrity, redemption, and quiet strength. He did not play flashy heroes, but grounded ones, men shaped by moral choice rather than bravado. That authenticity culminated in Dances with Wolves, a project many considered risky. Costner starred in, directed, and produced the film, betting his reputation on a story that demanded empathy and patience. The film's success, including multiple Academy Awards, confirmed his instincts. More importantly, it proved that audiences would respond to sincerity over spectacle, a belief that would define his career choices moving forward. Fame, risk, and staying authentic. As his career continued, Costner embraced both triumph and criticism with the same steadiness. Films like The Bodyguard became global sensations, while ambitious projects such as Waterworld and The Postman faced mixed reactions. Costner never disowned those risks, often stating that ambition matters more than playing it safe. Beyond acting, he explored music, leading the band Kevin Costner and Modern West, where storytelling once again took center stage. Later, his role as John Dutton in Yellowstone introduced him to a new generation, proving his relevance had not faded. Throughout these shifts, Costner avoided excess and spectacle off-screen. He preferred ranch life, music, and family, reinforcing the image of a man who valued substance over celebrity, even while living at its center. Love, family, and lessons from marriage. Costner's personal life unfolded alongside his professional success, marked by deep relationships and difficult transitions. His first marriage to Cindy Silva, his college sweetheart, supported him through his uncertain early years and the peak of his fame. Together, they raised 3 children before eventually divorcing, a painful chapter that forced Costner into honest self-reflection. Years later, he found lasting partnership with Christine Baumgartner, with whom he shared nearly 2 decades and 3 more children. Fatherhood became central to his identity, grounding him amid career demands. While both marriages ended respectfully, they shaped his understanding of balance, responsibility, and sacrifice. Costner has often said that family remains his greatest achievement, reminding him that success without connection is ultimately hollow. Robert Redford, more than an idol. As Costner matured, one influence continued to echo through his choices: Robert Redford. To Costner, Redford was never just a movie star, but a blueprint for what an artist could be. Redford's quiet confidence, thoughtful performances, and willingness to step behind the camera left a lasting impression. Costner has openly said that seeing Redford direct ordinary people changed his understanding of creative control. It showed him that acting was only one part of storytelling. Redford represented independence, a refusal to chase trends or approval. Watching him, Costner learned that longevity in Hollywood depended not on constant visibility, but on purpose. That realization helped Costner trust his instincts, even when projects seemed risky or unfashionable. Conversations that shaped a career. Although the 2 men were not constant collaborators, their conversations proved deeply influential. When Redford considered Costner for A River Runs Through It, the discussions went far beyond casting. Redford spoke about fathers, sons, and unspoken emotions, themes that resonated personally with Costner. Even though the role went to another actor, those conversations lingered. They reinforced Costner's belief that great films are emotional truths disguised as stories. Redford never offered instructions or commands, only insight, encouraging Costner to think more deeply about intention. These exchanges became quiet guideposts throughout Costner's career, reminding him to slow down, trust silence, and allow meaning to emerge naturally rather than forcing it. Shared values beyond Hollywood. What ultimately bonded Costner and Redford was not industry success, but shared values. Both men preferred wide landscapes to crowded premieres, finding clarity in nature rather than noise. Redford's work with the Sundance Institute and Costner's commitment to stories about the American West reflected a mutual respect for place, history, and independent voices. Costner has often said they spoke more about land, legacy, and responsibility than about box office numbers. Redford's dedication to nurturing new filmmakers inspired Costner to think beyond his own career and consider impact. In an industry often driven by ego, their relationship stood apart, built on respect rather than comparison, encouragement rather than competition. The truth Costner carries forward. At 70, Kevin Costner speaks about Robert Redford with clarity and gratitude, not exaggeration. To him, Redford was a mentor, an example, and a quiet force that shaped his courage. He credits Redford with helping him believe that integrity matters more than applause and that following instinct is worth the risk. Costner's reflection is not sentimental, but grounded, shaped by decades of lived experience. The truth he now shares is simple. Success is not measured by fame, but by staying true to why you began. In honoring Redford, Costner also reveals something about himself, a man who learned that the most meaningful legacies are built not in headlines, but in honest work and lasting respect.